Atlanta Falcons, this is the episode for you. Welcome into Around the Felt. I am one of the hosts, Reagan Losher, here with one of the other hosts, Colin, Tong, and we're going to be breaking down what we think the Falcons are going to do in 2025. So get ready.
Let's get rolling, man. The Falcons, I was so high on them last year, and they let me down. Well, to be honest, Kirk Cousins let me down.
Yeah.
Hopefully, for Falcons fans, Michael Penix is the future of this team. It's hard to believe, Reagan. The Falcons have not had a winning season since 2017. That just seems crazy to me because they've had some talented players in this franchise, but of course, quarterback plays held them back since the departure of Matt Ryan. And Vegas is not that high on the Falcons with a 7.5 win total, which is interesting, with the offensive weapons that they have, Michael Penix, all the excitement. They're projected to have the fourth easiest schedule based on Vegas win totals right now. I don't know, man. 7.5 seems a little low to me. Does it seem low to you?
Yes and no. I do have Atlanta going 8-8. That total seems...
They play 17 games, Reagan.
I keep saying 8-9. 8-9. I do have them going 8-9. It does seem about right to me because I think it's hard for people to put all this faith in the Michael Penix. It's just small sample size. I wish we got to see a bigger sample size last year. I mean, he looked good to me, but to sit here and be like, yeah, this team's definitely winning the division is putting a lot of faith into a guy who's really a rookie. Like, to me, he really is still a rookie quarterback. So I think there will be a lot of growing pains this year. I'm not expecting the Patrick Mahomes type breakout where it's like, hey, he sat most of his rookie year, played a little bit at the end, and then just balled out his first year as a starter. I mean, that'd be pretty sick. I'm sure Falcons fans would love that.
Oh, yeah.
I think it really hurts the team that they're paying their backup quarterback that much money. I was actually so shocked and still am shocked that they're going fully forward with him as the backup and have no intentions of trading him. I mean, they even picked up some sort of bonus they gave him the other day. So it's pretty clear that they're not moving on from him.
Well, I think that's coming from ownership. Like Arthur Blank, because he's made it known when they had the whole Desmond Ridder experience, which was terrible, and then they had Mariota for a little bit. He was like, I don't want to go through that again. We're always going to have contingency plans at quarterback. And that's why everyone clowned them last year for taking Penix 8th after they gave Kirk $100 million guaranteed. But they had Penix as a top 10 prospect and thought he was a franchise quarterback. And they were like, we'd be idiots to pass on him. Now, a year later, no one's clowning him for taking Penix at 8.
Well, it is crazy, too, looking at this offense, the amount of first-rounders that are on it. You would expect it to eventually come together. I mean, just on the offensive line between McGarry, Lindstrom, and Jake Matthews, I mean, you got some first-rounders there. I mean,
it's expecting... It's a good O-line. It's a really good O-line.
And I'm expecting Bijan Robinson to have a big season. I mean, Falcons fans, I have no idea how you feel on Kyle Pitts. I'm hoping he can finally figure it out. I mean, at least for fantasy, he's finally a value because he's not getting drafted as if he's going to be a top 3 tight end. I like Mooney a lot. He balled out last year. Drake London balled out as well, especially when, Pennix did take over. I mean, Drake London was his guy. I mean, ultra targeting him. I think he had over like 30 targets in the 3 games they played together. So love that. I mean, McLeod as your 3 is fine. On the defensive side of the ball, that's, really what holds me back on this team taking that next step. I mean, I like the secondary with Terrell and Bates, but outside of that, I mean, it's hard. The defensive line isn't great. The linebacker core isn't anything special. I mean, I'm hoping James Pierce and Jalen Walker, I mean, which right now it's kind of weird that neither of them are slated to be starters. Kind of odd.
Walker will start.
I mean, there's no reason to not start both of them. I mean,
their D-line, you could argue, is the worst in football. Like, their pass rushing, we talk about it every goddamn year. We're like, when are they going to take a pass rusher? This year they took 2 in the first round.
It didn't work out with Judon. I mean, I was cool with them making the move to get Judon last year. It obviously didn't work out. He's cooked. I don't even know if anyone signed Judon, but this isn't the Matthew Judon podcast. We're talking about the Falcons right now. But, I at least one of Pierce and Walker has to work out. It is pretty cool to do that duo, 2 first-round edge rushers. So, they got to at least go 1 or 2. But if they go out 2 out of 2, then maybe we are looking at a team that could win the division. But, they're just putting a lot of faith in this defense and the development on a couple young players. And even in this draft, I mean, you take Xavier Watts as well in the third. So
Yeah.
they heavily invested in the defense in this draft. So and it was about time. I mean, they've invested so much in the offense over the years. It's about time that they spent their first, and they took Billy Bowman Jr., the nickelback, as well. So it's about time that they spend, their first 4 picks in the draft, because obviously they traded away their second rounder this year and their first rounder next year, which another interesting thing too is, trading away a future first.
Yeah. So this is the thing with the Falcons, man.
They
You
don't.
gave up a first round pick in 2026 to move up and take James Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr. was an elite prospect out of high school, never fully lived up to it. He feasted on lesser competition, but when he played the top SEC tackles, he didn't do shit. The tools are absolutely there, but there's questions about his maturity and work ethic, which is why a guy with his tools does slide to the end of the first round. Because based on pure talent, he was projected as a top 10 pick since like his freshman year, right? So it better work out, because if Michael Penix is not the franchise quarterback and this team struggles in 25, you gave up a first round pick to get James Pierce Jr. He better be a dog, or else you really shot yourself in the foot for 26 in the future.
I mean, they need him to. It's just odd to me too because it was pick 26. You said
Yes. Yep.
right. So you're basically banking on the fact that you will be better than pick 26. But if they miss the playoffs, you essentially just got to pick. You essentially gave up a top 15 pick, which I think they're going to have a top 15 pick, if not top 20. I still don't think this team makes the playoffs. I think they just miss out. I still like the Bucs a little bit more and the Panthers in this division, but that's just me. I just think it's a weird move. But if James Pierce works out, nobody's going to care at the end of the day. But if he does not work out, this is going to be looked at as one of the worst trades of all time.
Yeah, it's an insanely risky move, and they're going all in to win now. And getting James Pierce Jr. and trading back in the first round shows you that. I mean, this team had a lot of losses too. Grady Jarrett, who's been a stalwart of this defense for a long time. Drew Dahlman, their center. Matt Judon, as you mentioned. Justin Simmons in the back end. Rondell Moore. Lorenzo Carter, who was trash anyways.
Well, Rondell Moore, unfortunately, I wish we got to see that experience. I was hoping for that.
Yeah, that's sad. I've always liked Rondell Moore from his Purdue days. He never really has been able to stay healthy and produce to that level. They do have some decent additions on this defense, though. I mean, Leonard Floyd, Divine Diablo at linebacker. I like that. We mentioned the 2 guys they took in the first round, Jalen Walker and James Pierce, and then Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. So definitely trying to help up that defense. I'm with you, Reagan. I got 9-8, so slightly better than you, but I also have them missing out on the playoffs, which means they gave up a top 18 pick to get James Pierce Jr.
I was
not ideal.
I was just looking up Rondell Moore. I didn't realize he went to the Vikings and had a knee injury and is now out for the season with them too. Wow. Poor guy.
Oh, no way. Yeah, the guy's had a lot of knee injuries. That's sad.
Because I was excited to see what he could have done in Atlanta last year, and now we don't get to see him in Minnesota either. Damn. But sorry to change the subject. But yeah. But where were you at?
I got 9-8. I got 9-8, man. I mean, you look at this offense, there's no doubt. The offensive line's elite. It's a top 10 unit. As you mentioned, a ton of first-round picks on that offensive line. Bijan is an absolute stud. He is my pick for Offensive Player of the Year right now.
Wow.
If you haven't checked out our 15 NFL futures you have to take video, please do. And one of my calls is Bijan to lead the league in rushing at plus 1,200 odds. That's a home run, in my opinion. When Zach Robinson, as the OC, wants to have a bell cow back and really feed him coming from the Rams tree, when he had nearly 1,900 yards last year and 15 touchdowns and left even more on the table, and he didn't even fumble the ball once. And he's been healthy his first 2 years, and he was healthy at Texas. So the guy's durable. He's an absolute stud. He's a freak of nature. Even Saquon Barkley said no one in this league moves the way Bijan does. No one can cut like he can. So when you hear that from the guy who just ran for 2,000 yards, that's pretty high praise. So I'm all in on Bijan Robinson. I would take him second overall in fantasy behind Jamar Chase. That's how high I am on Bijan Robinson this season behind that O-line. The receiving core, I like it, man. Darnell Mooney actually flashed with competent quarterback play. Sorry to throw a stray at your boy Justin Fields, your Jets quarterback, but his Fields is not very accurate at all. And he could do a lot of damage downfield. And we finally got to see that with Kirk Cousins, who was accurate downfield. Of all of Kirk Cousins' downfalls, he was accurate down the field. So Mooney was able to ball out. And Drake London's a dog, man. This is why you took him top 10. He had nearly 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 100 receptions. He had a 60% target share in the end zone, which is how he should be used with his height. So he's going to have more opportunities for touchdowns with Pennix. And with Pennix only started 3 games. He had 100 yards in 2 of them. And he only had 100-yard game with Kirk Cousins. So for me, Drake London is a home run fantasy pick as well in the second round this year, paired with Michael Penix, who wants to push the ball downfield and get it to him. Now, for the quarterbacks, I mean, Cousins he was tied for the league lead with 16 interceptions despite being benched. So thank God that's over. We already touched on, how they're keeping him as a competent backup, I guess, the most expensive backup in NFL history. Penix was okay, I would say, in his 3 games. He led the league with a 10.2 air yard per attempt. So that shows you, yes, what he was doing at Washington with his wide receiver trio of Rome Odunze, Jalen McMillan, and Jalen Polk chucking the ball around the yard. He's going to do that in Atlanta. So I'm very high on this pass to catching core. But he did have 3 touchdowns and 3 picks and a 58% completion rate. He's got to get that up. So let's bring that average depth of target down a little bit, get some more completions. This offense can stay on track. But for me, it's not the offense that I have him missing out in the playoffs. It is the defense. The 3rd lowest pressure rate last year. That's why you get 2 edge rushers in the first round. They left the 2nd highest 3rd down conversion rate. They couldn't get off the field. It's just, you don't know what you're going to get, right? If Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. live up to their draft statuses, then we're underestimating this defense and this team for 25. It's just a huge question mark. It's hard to bank on rookies coming in and making that big of a difference for your team. I like A.J. Terrell in the back end, but he's not been close to his elite 2021 season since. He's been pretty good, but not the guy that they want him to be and that he has shown he can be. Of course, Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties in football. The rest of their secondary, though, D. Alford, Mike Hughes, I'm not pumped about that, So I think this defense is going to hold them back. They got an easy schedule. Part of that's being in this division, right? But for me, the Buccaneers are just better. Their defense is a lot better. Their offense is better. And they've won it 4 years in a row. I'm not ready to put the Falcons above them like I did last year. I put too much faith in the Falcons last year. 9-8, they get a winning season because of that offense, but they're going to be the outside looking in yet again.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, we saw Michael Penix at least keep Drake London very relevant as well. We saw what he did. And I mean, I don't know. Drake London and Bijan are really going to have to continue on their trajectory into being, top 5 at their position for this team to be a playoff team for me. Because, like you said, the defense is just not. I mean, Jalen Walker and James Pierce just need to develop, and I don't know if they'll develop right away.
Now, I'm less concerned about Walker. I think he should feast in this scheme. When he was actually lined up, because he played all over at Georgia, like some off-ball linebacker, then got on the edge. He was used as a blitzer, but he had 20% pressure rate in the edge in the SEC. That's legit. Like, the guy could get after the quarterback. He's got all the tools. Pierce, as I mentioned, huge question mark, boomer bust kind of pick. I am optimistic on Xavier Watts, though, the safety from Notre Dame. And I know we talked about Benjamin Morrison on our Bucks pod, but the Notre Dame secondary was really good last year. That's why they played for a national championship, even despite the injuries, right? But I think Watts is going to start it free right away next to Jesse Bates, and he'll play that one high where he played at Notre Dame. He's got great range, and that's what they need. They need to force more turnovers. They need guys in the back end to make some plays. So I'm optimistic about Watts, but it's not enough for me to push this team in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
With all that being said, Reagan, who's your MVP for the Atlanta Falcons in 2025?
Yeah, it's actually going to be Drake London. I think he may take that step to be the top 5 wide receiver this year. I mean, he balled out last year with the combo of Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, but I think he's going to be ultra targeted. I mean, we saw him ultra targeted down the stretch, and maybe I'm a little bullish on that Panthers game, but week 18, man, he was just on fire. The 2 touchdowns, almost 200 yards. I think he ended up having 15 targets in that game.
But can we acknowledge the Panthers had the worst defense in football last year by a pretty wide margin?
Yeah, they did have a bad defense, but still, even the week prior, he was 7 for 106 with 13 targets. So all I'm saying is I think Michael Penix is going to ultra target this guy. If he can stay healthy, I think he could be pushing for 1,500 yards this season. He had 1,271 last year with 100 catches. 9 touchdowns. I think we could be looking at a guy that has, over 100 catches, over 1,500 yards, and over 10 touchdowns. When I don't think that's crazy to say either.
No,
I mean,
I
maybe even
actually
pushing
think
like
that
12 touchdowns, and maybe getting closer to like 120 catches.
No, I agree with you. That Panthers comment was more so Michael Penix jab, not a Drake London jab.
Yes. Yeah. No, and that's fine. I mean,
because that was the one game he actually looked good was Penix.
Yeah.
That was more of a
and
Penix
that's
jab.
fair. And I mean, in the first one with the Giants, 5 catches for 59 yards, but they won 34-7. So, ultimately that was more of a Bijan game, and they went other ways that game. But I'm just saying, I think, I feel like his upside is higher with Penix than it was with Cousins.
I agree 100%. The target share in the end zone's there. I think 110 catches, 1,500 yards, and 12 touchdowns is well within reach for Drake London. I think that it would not shock me if he's a second-team All-Pro this year, to be honest with you. I think he's going to feast. My MVP is Bijan Robinson, of course. I mean, I think the guy can push for 1,700 rushing yards this year. I think he is the entire engine of his offense. I think it runs through him. I think when Algier comes in, he's competent. He's pretty good. But Bijan's just an elite tier. I think he's an elite receiver. He's elite in pass pro. He's just an absolute freak, and I think he's going to take the crown as the NFL's best running back this year.
Wow. We'll see.
The X factor for the Atlanta Falcons, of course, it has to be Michael Penix Jr. We saw 3 games. We saw some flashes, particularly against Carolina. That's a garbage defense. Now you got an offseason to learn the system more, get comfortable, take a step, be that guy. If this team's going to win the division, it's because, yes, Michael Penix is the future franchise quarterback of this team. He picked 8th overall for a reason. Act like it. Be that guy. Michael Penix is the X factor here. I don't think you go any other route besides maybe the edge rushing tandem. The rookies.
I actually am going that route because I think Michael Penix can be very average and they can make the playoffs if they have a good edge rush or if they have a good, pass rush. I think that's what's going to hold the team back because Michael Penix could throw, for 30 touchdowns and look like, he's next up. And they could still go 6-11 or 7-10 because teams are just constantly throwing on them because they have no edge pressure. Where if these guys actually can get a good edge rush going and maybe they're both pushing close to double digits and it's like, whoa, like this Atlanta defense is way better than we thought, or even like middle of the pack, I think they can sneak in at like 9-8 or maybe even 10-7. And Michael Penix doesn't have to be like this, world like crazy guy, but maybe even has like 20 touchdowns and like 15 picks. And it's like, all right, like the dude's played 3 career games. He showed a lot of flashes that he is the future, but like, there was a lot of growing pains. So that's my X factor because I just think even if Michael Penix is Superman, it's going to be tough for this team to be a playoff team.
Yeah, and this team has had terrible pass rushing production for years. We've been harping it since this pod started years ago. Like, when are they going to get an edge rusher in here? A legit one. Because they've been bottom of the league in pressure rate and sacks for so many years. So at least they understand their problem. Who's your rookie of the year? Is it one of these edge rushers?
Yeah, it's Jalen Walker.
It's got to be Jalen Walker here. He's the cleaner prospect. He performed way better in the SEC than James Pierce Jr. did. He's a lot less risky. The guy's a dog. I think he's going to be the leader of this defense very shortly.
Yeah, I think they're going to use him in such cool ways.
Absolutely. The DPOY for you, who do you got?
I don't know, man. It's tough, man, because, it's hard to pick one of those rookies because we just highlighted everything. I mean, I'll probably go with Jesse Bates just because he's the most proven. I guess you could go AJ Terrell, but I don't even know what version of AJ Terrell we're going to get. We've seen so many different variations of him. So I'll probably just go with Jesse Bates just because he's kind of been like the catalyst and the best defensive player on this team since he's gotten there from Cincinnati. And you see, what's happened to their defense since the loss of him.
That's valid. I mean, Jesse Bates is definitely the easy pick here, all-pro caliber player. I'm going to go Jalen Walker as the DPOY and the rookie of the year. I think Jalen Walker is going to have a 10-sack season for Atlanta. And that would be absolutely huge for him because they need someone to do it. The problem is I don't know if anyone else in this pass rushing unit can get above 5 sacks. So Jalen Walker's got to be that guy. I have him as the DPOY. I have 10 sacks for him.
Wow.
I think he has a pretty decent chance to be the defensive rookie of the year. I mean, it depends. Abdul Carter looks like an absolute freak right now, so I don't know. Maybe it's Abdul Carter, but if it's not Carter for me, second would be Jalen Walker.
Well, it also helps because you look at Carter, like you definitely aren't going to sit here and say he's the best defensive player on the team, where you can already say Walker has a case that he's the best defensive player on the team.
You could. I mean, Jesse Bates is a dog. Don't want to throw shade at him, but he's getting up there in age as well. So
no, I know. I'm just saying, like, he's got Dexter Lawrence on the line, so like that'll always like take away from Carter, where like there's nobody else on this defensive line. So if he ends up putting up ridiculous numbers, it's not like, well, this guy opened up a lot for him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Fantasy football, man, we've kind of harped on it. Super high on Drake London, super high on Bijan. What about you? Who do you like?
I mean, I've been getting a ton of Mooney stock in best ball. He had a very productive season last year, especially with Kirk Cousins. So, I would imagine he'll still be very relevant. I mean, he almost had 1,000 yards last year. He ended up with 992, so just missed that mark. The 64 catches, love that. I mean, he played 16 games, so if he did play the 17th, he would have got over that mark. I was not expecting that kind of production because he kind of tailed off in Chicago his last 2 years. But, comes over. He's a nice number 2 wide receiver here. So, didn't do a whole lot when Pennix took over. I mean, he had the 5 for 82 and then didn't even play in the last game of the season. It was 2 for 37. But, there were stretches in the middle of the season with, he was well over 100 yards. I mean, I remember that OT game against the Bucs. He was 9 for 105 and 2. So I'm taking him best ball, knowing that, he's got that speed and ability to blow up some weeks. Kyle Pitts, I think, is just worth taking the dart throw. Like, it's just such a value at this point where it's like, if it doesn't work out, you just drop him, And then Bijan London, you obviously take. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think
that's really it.
I don't
This
think you
is
need
a
to
team.
take the what? Oh, Tyler Algier is a must handcuff as well.
Yeah. You should stash Algier because if Bijan goes down, in this offense, you want to have the lead back. I'm with you on Kyle Pitts. Look, Kyle Pitts, career low 35.4 yards per game last year. It can't get much worse. Now he's finally being priced into fantasy with that production at tight end like 17 or 18. If I'm getting a tight end late and I'm doing the streaming route, I'm not getting one of those elite guys. I'm taking Kyle Pitts in a lot of best ball leagues as my tight end too. Still banking on that talent. I'm ready to get my heart broken once again because he's a former Gator. Love watching him at Florida with Kyle Trask, but I mean, you took him 4th overall over Jamar Chase. That's always going to hurt you. And Penny Sewell, by the way. Always going to be a bad thought in Falcons fans' brains. But for me, with a new quarterback, you never know who's going to build that report. And Kyle Pitts at that price, I think is worth taking as your tight end too.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that, dude. I'm 100% with you on that.
Falcons fans, let us know in the comments. Can Bijan Robinson lead the league in rushing? Can Drake London go for 1,512 tutties? Is Michael Penix the quarterback for now and the future for the Atlanta Falcons? Are you concerned about trading away that 2026 first-round pick? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them below.